Hey guys, and welcome to Car Guy 1999 Reviews. Today, thanks to INFINITI of Nashua, we have our 2022 Kia Stinger GT1. So, a lot of you may know I used to work at Quirk auto dealers, so I've driven a ton of these. Well, until they got upset that I was driving cars outside the lot for some odd reason, so I was only able to drive the refresh around the parking lot, which I got a lot of comments over the years about that. That's the reason why. I wasn't gonna say, nope, not doing it anymore. I'm gonna make the most of it and at least bring you guys some form of content. But now that I actually get to fully drive the refresh Stinger and the last Stinger on the road, it's fair to say it is a frankly fantastic car. I always said the Stinger needed a little bit more noise, and for the refresh, and I believe it was 22, either 21 or 22, they added variable exhaust, and it sounds frankly amazing. I always said this was the cheaper and more reliable Maserati Ghibli, and I still think that to this day. Although now depreciation has made the Ghibli cheaper in a lot of scenarios, which it kind of should be. 3.3 liter twin turbo V6, 365 horsepower right there about. Absolute powerhouse. And if you look, it's kind of midship mounted. At this point, Hyundai, Genesis, Kia, they had Albert Biermann on board, which, if you remember, if you know who Albert Biermann is, was the creator of some of the most iconic M cars, the E92 M3, E46 M3. He was there for the iconic M cars. And if you take just a little bit of that iconic DNA, you get cars such as the Veloster and the Stinger, the G70. It's a pretty darn good car. Ironically, and you guys will get a chuckle on this, if you want full manual mode, the only way to get a full manual mode is the GT1, because the GT2 added a shift-by-wire shifter, and that didn't have a dedicated manual mode. So every time you came to a stop, it would put it into drive, which drove a lot of people, including me, crazy. Of course, the GT2 added nicer little features, cool to see stuff like that. But for performance drivers, sometimes this shifter is what you really should be looking for, which if you're trying to play around on a back road with some stop signs, it's not gonna drive you absolutely insane to have to put it back into manual mode every time you come to a stop. And now, building off of what I said earlier, I always said the Kia Stinger was the Maserati Ghibli you should buy, and it was the cheaper, more reliable option. Now depreciation has done things to the Ghibli that allow you to buy an SQ4 with some miles on it for 25 grand, which is, if you can get an aftermarket warranty, come on, I mean, you can't beat that. But those are old. This is new-ish. And now that they're gone, people are really starting to appreciate what this car brought to the table. This was one of those cars that really reinforced that Kia was making a comeback. When this launched in 2019, people were kind of like, yeah, but it's a Kia. And then people started to drive it, and they realized, wow, okay, this is a good car. And it's not a good car for a Kia. It is a good car and all be all. For the price point, you're getting something really, really refined and really, really quick. with dynamics that you wouldn't find outside the German competitors five plus years ago. And from this point, from 2019 on, or I think it was 2018, whatever the first year the Stinger was, Kia brought cars to the table such as the Telluride. And that was like, oh, Kia can do a really, really good mainstream car too. And then you have the EV6 GT. And Kia, Genesis, Hyundai are really kind of there in renaissance period of building some fantastic cars that people didn't think would ever come from these manufacturers. This car is frankly a absolute amazing car to drive, and for a daily driver, for a performance enthusiast, you can't do much better than this for the price. Yes, this is a torque converter automatic, not a dual clutch like you would find in cars such as the S4, but it is so good that I really don't care. Platform dynamics, the way it can rotate on throttle, and you can adjust the steering angle of this car by just flexing the throttle a little bit. It just uses the all-wheel drive system to make this car so playful in corners. And the first time you get in this car and step on it, if you have never been in a Stinger before, you are frankly blown away that any car with a Kia logo can be this quick. Unless you've driven the EV6 GT, which I have not, but I've heard amazing things. I've driven the GT line, and I realized, oh wow, this feels just as quick as a Stinger. And then I missed one of the biggest attributes of the Stinger, which is the styling. This car frankly looks absolutely amazing, to the point where when Kia added the new Kia logos, you don't know what the Stinger is. You think it's a Maserati. You think it's some $70,000-$80,000 car, when in reality these were stickering for mid-50s. I mean, you could, with the Scorpion edition, you could touch 60, but they just were the Stinger, and of course the G70 proved that you didn't have to turn to the German manufacturers to have a fun luxury performance car that had really, really great dynamics. In fact, Kia and Hyundai turned to the Germans and took away one of their developers to make this car. So when I say this drives like a German car, that is why. It's because they turned to the Germans, realized, okay, this is what they do good, this is their segment, we want to take them on. Let's take the guy who helped create the pinnacle of German performance, and let's make him develop something for us. And what we have is a car that I will always remember, but I don't think everybody will. I think this will turn into the Pontiac G8, the Chevy SS, cars like that, where enthusiasts knew, well, not all of them, but most enthusiasts knew how good this car was while we had it, and are truly going to miss what this car was. That's a shame, because this is a damn good car. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, share, subscribe. I'll see you all in the next one.